everyone, welcome to the Light Renegades. My name is Starr, and today I have another message from Brittany Murphy, a pre-channeled message. I've been speaking with Brittany Murphy for probably over a year now, but sharing for about the last 6 months on this platform, on this channel, and the messages have been few and far between. She's been really busy behind the scenes working with galactic teams, angelic and otherwise, to bring a little bit more peace to this world. But for those that might be new to the channel, you might want to start with our Getting Started series with Anna Maria as a way to step into these realms a little bit deeper. And for those that have been watching in real time, I hope that we are all doing okay. I know that that shift has just started to happen with regards to October being a little bit chaotic, a little bit crazy, and I'm going to release another video in the next coming days of some things that I've been experiencing to perhaps put some things into perspective for you as well. But today's message from Brit is about relationships, and yeah, I was really grateful for this message to come forward. I think that I've been feeling a lot of the energy that she is mentioning in this channeling, and I think a lot of you might be in that space too. I know a lot of people have been making some really big decisions of late, and that season is, you know, just stepping forward into the new. We've just had equinox, and the next 6 months are going to be quite telling, I think, for us that are awake, for those that are wanting to step forward into the light and away from the darkness. So I think watch this space, everyone. But I'm going to go ahead with today's message from Brit. It's quite a lengthy one, and I think I'm going to put a trigger warning on this one as well, because it does get pretty deep into relationships and some struggles of hers. And yeah, if you're not ready to take on that space today, you know, come back to this at a later date. But today's message from Brit was titled Relationships, and she started with, "Hi everyone, me again. Today I want to speak about my relationships, what they meant to me, but also how they held me back. I loved, boy did I love. I loved love more than most, more than the average. It was everything to me. I think growing up without a father figure, I had that itch, that wound, that part of me that just wanted to be scooped up and held by someone, and for them to take control, for them to tell me it was all going to be okay. When in reality, I was the one leading. My mom did her best. She was amazing, and I love her dearly. I don't know what I would have done in her shoes, but she didn't lead. It was always me holding her hand, trying to hold it all together, right from being small, right from being too young to know the truths of this world. I learned them pretty quickly. I learned how to not get in the way. I learned how to not show up. I learned how to not show how I truly felt. I learned how to put on that smile, my face, that show-stopping smile. That was my meal ticket, and I knew it. My relationships mean everything to me, friendships or otherwise. I truly took care of those I loved. I can be heartfelt when I say this. I loved to love. I was always taken aback when others wouldn't show me that same love. I tried so hard to be liked, to be accepted. That was a fault of mine. I never wanted to make anyone else unhappy or to see them suffer. Rather me than them. I think I always had that in the back of my mind without realizing it. This is how I felt about my husband, Simon. He was everything to me. He held me in ways I didn't know I needed to be held, but it was toxic. I have to admit it here. There was so much I couldn't see, blinded by all that was taking hold over me. Medication. I felt sick constantly. I didn't know how to function without picking an array of medicines throughout the day. This wasn't to get high, but to mask the pain I felt all over my body. I felt like something was in me, something was breaking me from the inside out. But I will speak more of this at a later date. Simon was wounded too. I think this is why we worked together so tragically well. He saw my wounds and licked them for me. I did the same to him. I think we both knew on meeting each other that we wouldn't last long. In my heart, I knew my time was coming to a close sooner rather than later for most. I knew I couldn't escape them, my past actions, and me knowing too much. I tried my hardest to play by the rules, but not to be bound by them. That wasn't enough. I know somewhere, many, those you adored, wished for me to suffer, and I think only now do I truly understand why. I said no. I had integrity. I walked away from the darkness. They didn't have the strength. They didn't have the guts. Who was better off living? I'm not so sure. But I'm proud of me. I'm proud that I chose this path, and I'm proud to be here to be telling you a much different story than most. But I digress. I could spot a toxic person a mile away. I knew exactly what someone wanted from me the minute that I met them. So I learned to play the game, and I think for a while I thought I was winning. But it all came crumbling down when I moved into that house. Yes, the dreaded house. I promise you, there has never been a place I felt less safe. Simon didn't understand. He tried. But I think somewhere they'd gotten to him too. I felt captive. My mother lived with us, and we all became dependent upon each other. I had given up. I couldn't fight any longer. No matter what I did, they were always there. They were always watching, and I was always set to fail. Looking back, I could see exactly where I gave up. I started to believe all that others said about me. Rumors were started, of course, soon after the party incident. They tried to take my career from me, but they knew I was too light to be taken down so swiftly. This was a long, drawn-out process. They enjoyed it, I'm sure, every second. I was broken when Simon and I finally met, and I think he saw the light within me. That was what I loved about him. He truly saw me. He adored me. I felt held and saved. Well, for a small time, at least. It's funny how quickly things turn, yet you hold on to how it felt at the beginning. It's as though the denial is easier to live with than the truth. He wanted me to take care of him, and I did. I was always taking care of everyone else but me. That was my true downfall. I knew how I could help everyone, and I don't think I took a look at how I could best help myself. I played the role, so many roles. What I thought people wanted from me, how to be accepted in certain circles, where to give more and more and more, until I realized I had nothing left. And I see some of you here now in this space. I watch over all of you. You've done enough. Let me tell you this now. Please, stop and take a look around. Who is hurting you? Who is not letting you see your worth? Who is masking love for codependency? I wish my fairy godmother would have swooped down and told me to take a break. I never stopped. Take a minute and stop before proceeding, everyone. What is happening in your lives right now? What needs addressing? Whom or what isn't looking out for your highest good? Be honest. Be brutally honest. Because the funny thing is, we always know. Our inner self knows. That little voice, the quiet voice, it's always there. It's not loud, but it's always there. Listen to that voice. I think that's all I'd like to share today. Thank you for your time and your patience. I hope you see me as your fairy godmother. I sure do love the sparkle, Brit. This one cut deep, everyone, for me. Channeling this message today, there was a lot of parallels in what Brit is talking about, and me looking back on how far I've come on this journey so far, and how far you've all seen me grow too. Those that have been here for the whole of this, the start of this, I'd be here, I'd go, I'd be here, I'd go, and I realized that I've just been peeling away layers and layers and layers and layers upon layers of these masks, these roles that I was putting on to get by, and I've really had to look back at myself and think, what was I doing and why was I doing it and who was I doing it for? And, eventually you come to a space of where there is nothing left that you have to give anyone else. And that's when the true, work starts. That's when you have to decide to take life into your own hands for you. And you realize, there is no one else out here that can save you but you. And I think it's a real difficult time that we get to when we realize, our parents are only human too. And I think it took me a real long time to truly understand that I've been leading a lot of my life too. I've been holding space for so many people when I was far too young, and there's a lot of parallels within Brit's message on my own personal journey too. And yeah, this message really made it hit home, and I've been definitely in spaces where I've been having to face my younger self, my inner child, and really hold her and say it's time to let that go, let that weight go, let people, look after themselves. They are grown. They're a lot more grown than I was when I was trying to take care of them. And I'm a lot more grown now, and I get to walk away. I get to say no to people. I get to say that's not my space anymore. I get to say no. I'm not going to dim my light anymore. And I definitely feel like I've been playing it small. I've been playing it safe. I've been playing it so I wouldn't upset any more people. But I always knew that I always knew that there was this part of me that was supposed to shine. And, I find it difficult to even say it because I know that it makes other people crumble. And I think a lot of you here that are already in this space with us, you know how that feels. You've been terrified to step forward for you. You've been terrified of what that means, to lose certain relationships, to perhaps let people down. But all you can do is take care of you. And I'm not saying, to be mean to anyone or to be selfish. I think this idea of looking after self and being selfish is, a very thin line. And I think I didn't understand it. I think I thought some people were real selfish when actually I had zero boundaries and I didn't know how to take care of myself. So me seeing others take care of them, I think I thought was selfish for a real long time. And, I've had to take a look back at my hideously toxic traits. And I've been uprooting a lot of that these past few years on my journey, and having to take a good deep hard look at myself and seeing where I wasn't stable, I wasn't healthy. My ideas of love and relationships were completely warped by a whole manner of things, a whole manner of different things I picked up through understandings of other people's relationships, or at least what I saw in my home, in my family, ancestral karma, this darkness that I had inside of me, to past life relationships that were still, contracted into me, karmic cycles, karmic lessons. It's been a deep, deep, deep well and pit that I have truly had to crawl out of to be where I am today. And I know some of you are just at the start of your journey. I know that some of you are just at the start of, taking a peek out of that dark well and being like, oh my gosh, what have I done for one? And I think that is definitely something that I found myself saying time and time again on this journey. I would come to a space where, things were real tricky, real sticky, really hectic. And I'd be like, what have I done? Why did I step forward? Why have I said yes to this? And, this is where I find myself in the past couple of weeks. I've really had to take a good hard look at everything right now and be really certain of what I wanted to step forward into. And I've made that decision every step along this way. We have our free will, and I thought there's no going back for me in this. I cannot turn back even if I wanted to. My heart is telling me this is exactly where I'm supposed to be. This is exactly what I'm supposed to be doing, and I'm supposed to be sharing my story. I'm supposed to be sharing my voice for those that didn't have a voice, for those that have been terrified to step forward, and shine their light and share their truth, because quite frankly, there's a lot of things that we experience that we just can't explain to the masses out there right now, to those that don't truly understand it or aren't in the capacities to be holding us. And I realized, I didn't have a lot of people around me that could hold me. And, I'm so grateful for those bright lights, those souls that could, some members of my family have been my true rocks this lifetime. And, I know that they were sent to me. They've been my fairy godfathers and godmothers. And, you have your people. You will find your people. And to those that feel alone, we are always here for you. We are your people. I want this to be a community. I want us to be able to help each other and to step forward in this light together. And now's that time, everyone. We're coming to a space of where there is no turning back. There is only through and forward. And take those breaks when you need them. Take those times out when you need them, and listen to your body, listen to your vessel, listen to what your situations are telling you. And I realized as soon as I started to take a step back, my whole life was screaming at me exactly what I, should and shouldn't be doing. And I realized it was the real quiet voice. And I'm so glad that Brit brings this up today, because it's always been the most silent and quiet voice that has been guiding me. And, sometimes things get real loud, and I really have to push out the noise. A lot of this dark energy comes through as noise, as fear, as distortion, as a lack mentality. First and foremost, I think a lot of the time it's fear and a lack mentality that comes screaming out at you. And then when you take that step back, when you take that 2 minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes time out, that time to meditate, it just drops in that quiet voice and it tells you exactly what you need to be doing. So for those that are struggling, for those that aren't sure, where they need to be stepping back or where they need to be fully stepping forward, take the time to just listen to the silence. And Brit came forward to share a message with me today, and she said, your silence speaks volumes. And I knew exactly what she meant by that message. And in certain spaces I've taken a step back and I've been real quiet, and in that quiet I know that people have now heard my voice. And I understand now sometimes the best thing you can do is to just take a step back and wait, take a step back and listen, take a step back and come back into you. I think a lot of the time we have a lot of people pulling on us, desperate for us to be there for them, desperate for us to hold them, to take care of them, to nurture them. And we have to learn to take care of ourselves. There's a moment in time where you have to just look at you and think, how can I save me? No one else is going to do it for you. And it takes true grit. It takes, a lot of stamina, and it does take others to be helping you in that space. I'm very grateful to be in a space where I am held, now by other people that are on a similar path to me. But for the longest time at the start of this, there was no one. I had nowhere to turn, and I was desperate, desperate for people to be validating my story, desperate for people to understand what I was experiencing. And then I realized that this has been the entirety of my journey, is having people not understand so that I could fully step into my own sovereignty, into my own power. So remember that too, everyone. If you have been on your own in this for the longest time, you needed to be there. And it's such a bittersweet kind of narrative to be walking, and I'm still walking that. Some spaces I feel very hideously misunderstood, and I just know that that's going to have to be the case across the board. And you very much are stepping into the wolves, into a pack of wolves, when you put yourself out here on the internet, on the line, speaking your truth and shining your light, because they come after you every which way. They come after you, and I've experienced it to a minute degree from what Brit has experienced. And it was enough for me. At some point I thought, I can't do this, I cannot step forward anymore. These psychic attacks, this darkness looming in, I was like, how am I gonna get through this? But you do. There is always something that happens, there is always a shift that happens. So remember that, everyone. And we are so here. If you feel the calling to be working with me at a much personal level, do not hesitate to reach out. This is exactly what I'm here for, to support you in that, to help you walk this path into the light, away from the darkness. And I think a lot of the new souls stepping forward now, I think you've been sat in the most amount of darkness that you had no idea that there was light. And I'm glad you found your way here. I'm glad that you are starting to listen to that quiet voice. And I want to reiterate this quiet voice that comes through. And there's quite early on in my journey, I noticed that spirit was a voice that came from right at the base of my skull. So for those that might have been wanting to tap into the spiritual essence of them, being called to share that. So if you've been hearing a voice from the base of your spine, that is your spirit team. And it took me a little while to understand, exactly where those voices were coming from, and, how to integrate them. But that quiet voice, whether it's spirit or your own, it's peaceful, it's calm, and it does speak volumes. Sometimes a single word will drop into me, and that's all that needs to be said from my spirit team, and I hear it, and it stops me in my tracks, and I think, gosh, I was so off track at that moment in time, or that was exactly what I needed to be, pushing forward, to be working forward. And I think some of you are in a maze right now. I definitely find myself in the epicenter of a lot of things, but I'm sat in almost a stillness, and it's like I'm in the eye of the tornado, and everyone else seems to be buzzing around me, and I'm just in the center, and I'm listening, and I'm picking it all up, and I'm working through the bits that I know are mine, but I'm letting everyone else just biz. I'm letting everyone else figure out their journey for themselves. For the most part, those that aren't wanting to step forward quite yet, on this path, there's only so much you can do, and to those that are wanting to step forward, I am more than capable of being here to be holding your hand and to be helping guide you through this. But I think there are some souls that are just wanting to be saved, and the only person that can truly save you is yourself. And I don't even like to call myself a healer, because I don't believe that truly exists. I am a support. I help shift energy out of people. I transmute energy. I move energy. I can validate your story. I can listen to you. I can be, a sounding board, I can be an ear, but the only person that is saving you truly and healing you truly is yourself. So remember that, everyone, you are a sovereign being. We are merely guides. I merely see myself as a vessel at this point to be bringing this information through, and I know that this is a path that I chose to take, and I'm wearing that badge with honor, with pride right now, and trying to step forward as much as I can and to be shining my light as much as I can, because I know that people need that beacon so they know that they can shine too, and it's okay. And this road is difficult. It's real tricky out here, especially now. I'm not going to deny that. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm not going to tell you, it's sunshine and rainbows all the time, because quite frankly, it's not. And those that have been here on this journey with me, with all the Light Renegades, you've seen it all. You've heard everything we've experienced, and it's horrible. Sometimes it's, quite frightening a lot of the time, and that is what life is. Life is terrifying sometimes, but also it holds so much beauty as well, and we're trying to get away from that duality. We're working through all of this darkness so that we can have this beauty a lot more and feel it, to the depths of our soul, to the depths of our being. And for the generations that come after us, we will not be here in this physical plane of existence forever. And more and more on this journey, I'm starting to realize just how important it is to just be in the now and experience the now, because tomorrow just might not happen, and there's been a lot of deaths and rebirths. My own energy has been going through massive deaths and rebirths in the past couple of weeks, and I just didn't think I was going to exist, I think, at some point really recently. And that came with a lot of lessons, and I thought, gosh, there is so much actually I want to say. There is so much I want to share. There is so much that I want to give to this world, and I'm ready, everyone. And I think a lot of you out here are ready for that too. So take these messages today. Take that time to look around you. Who isn't serving you? Where can you just take a step back and let others find that path? Where can you, step forward to be holding yourself more and to be ready to be taking this journey? How can we help you? Step forward. We've been holding healing circles, we've done 2, but we've had this message coming out for some time, and not many people step forward, and I think that is saying a lot. And I definitely know the Galactic teams wanted to step forward in this and say, for those that are on this path, for those that are thinking they are doing the work, how deeply are you doing this work? Are you really trying to dig deep? Are you really trying to heal? Are you really trying to step forward? Because we are a community. Step forward. When you are asked, step forward. When you are asked to shine your light, please shine your light and continue to shine your light, because there will be those around you that need to see it. Every single person that is here now, you are a pillar in your communities. That is why you're awake first. That is why you're awake now. As souls that have been, I think, struggling all of our lives to fit in. And I've definitely been feeling this essence of, for the longest time, I was trying to make everyone else comfortable, and that's not what I'm here for. I'm here to trigger people. I'm here to make it uncomfortable for certain people so that they can grow. That's why I've been contracted into their lives. And, that's a bitter pill to swallow. And, looking back on a lot of my relationships and connections, I realized that we had to break, for us to step forward in our full light, in our full capacity. And, that's a difficult thing to accept sometimes when you love people. And I will say this over and over again, and I've been saying it quite recently in my personal spaces, love is not enough. Love is absolutely not enough. You can love someone, but how are they, how are they treating you? How are you treating them? Love absolutely just isn't enough. In the way that we think love means right now, in this 3D plane of existence, I realized I had a very warped perspective of love. And, this universal love is enough. This unconditional love is enough. But this love, my ride or die, my everything till the bitter end, until, there was nothing left of either of us, is just incredibly toxic and putrid and suffocating. And I think some of you really needed to hear that today. You needed to hear that you need to step forward for you in your sovereignty and love yourself. That was the best thing that I ever decided to do on this journey, above everything else, above tapping into my spiritual gifts, which I'm incredibly grateful for. But it all started with me learning to love myself. And as soon as I started to do that, everything else started to fall into place. And, you know, I'm still learning, I'm still growing, I'm still growing this entire, you know, enterprise. All of us together, all of us light renegades have come into a point where we're knowing we're having to step forward much deeper in all of this than ever before. But we've been growing, and we needed to take that time to grow. So listen to where you are in your journey. Do you need to take a step back, or do you need to take a gigantic leap forward? And I've realized that is exactly where I am right now. I'm taking this gigantic leap forward, in 2 feet in, no going back, everyone. And I think some of you are really going to resonate with that message too. But that's enough from me today, and from Brit, and I will be back again very, very soon. Take care, everyone.